This is Diane Mourglia-Swerdlow with another segment of my Cooking with Janet. I'm so happy that you're here with me again because hopefully you journeyed with me last week to Cindy's organic farm, and of course I have a lot of things to show you that I got there, and I want you to be adventuresome in what you eat and how you feed yourself and what all's going on. So let me first direct you over here. This is something that you may not have seen before. I've had this soaking in my tub. This is actually a stalk of Brussels sprouts, and a lot of people do not realize how Brussels sprouts grow, and a lot of people are a little frightened of eating Brussels sprouts because they have kind of a bad reputation. But it actually is one of my family's favorites, and so I want to show you what to do with it. But first I want to show you how that it grows. Now you can see too here the stalk, it's very woody. It's very woody, so you almost have to have a machete to break it loose, but it grows along the ground. And that's what it looks like, and sometimes you can even find them in your grocery stores. Once you have your Brussels sprouts, you actually just push them off to pull them off of the stalk. And this is a way most of you are familiar with. You cannot always find them fresh, but usually you can find them frozen. Of course, these, luckily for us, are organic. So I want to take you over here to my cutting board because I have a few things I want to show you. You may not know how to prepare them. And if you get them fresh, there's not as much that you have to do. But, I mean, if you get them frozen, there's not as much. But if you have them fresh, then you have to cut off this stalk. So all I do is just cut that off. And if they're older, then you may have things like little yellow leaves here that need to come off. So you just kind of have to clean them up. They're like a little head of cabbage. And if you like cabbage and you know how to prepare cabbage, you should like Brussels sprouts. These I've cut in half for you so you can see what they look like. They look just like a little cabbage, a pile of leaves. And sometimes when you cut them, the leaves will come off. You can steam them very easily just until they're a little crispy, or you can stir fry them. So today I want to show you a quick recipe of how to stir fry. It's very nutritious, it's tasty, and it's easy to do. So I'm going to do a couple things with these. So remember, first of all, you can stir fry them. These are very high in vitamin C. Again, they're a member of the cabbage family. If you don't like cabbage, you may not like these. If you like cabbage, which most people do, these are really nice. And they're very dense. So you won't want to use a lot. I like to mix these with other vegetables sometimes. But I'm going to show you here. Let's go over to the frying pan and turn my stove on, and a little bit of olive oil. And what I like to do is, first of all, and again, you can put your garlic cloves in whole for something different, or you can chop them up. It just kind of depends on what you want to do. But sometimes it's just fun to have a little different textures in your food. So I'm just going to put in a couple of cloves of garlic, and have an onion soaking here. So let me just pull off a piece of that. We're not going to do a lot, but I want you to get the idea. So, and I like to kind of make my chunks relatively the same. Again, go to your oversoul and find out what's the best way. And because I like these browned, I usually put these in first. So let's just stick these here. I'm going to let those heat up for a minute. And then after that, I'm going to put in my Brussels sprouts. And lastly, I'm going to put in some sun-dried tomatoes. These are already sliced. And these kind of add a little bit of color, which is nice. So I'll just set this here and get this ready. So while this is heating, I also want to introduce you to this particular vegetable, which we talked about at Cindy's. This is called Violet Queen. It's very similar to, I can't think of the word. It's very similar to broccoli rabe. It's not quite as bitter in my estimation. The stem is very good. After you cook it down in this part, you'll go ahead and you eat everything. You eat the leaves, you eat the stem, you eat everything. You can just steam that with a little bit of butter. It's delicious. You can chop it up and put it in other things, but we like it steamed with butter. So that's Violet Queen, similar to broccoli rabe. That's an old vegetable. You can see it's purple, which we have talked about, the older vegetables being purple. And over here, I also want to direct your attention. Just let me check this. Over here we have a variety of squash, which I told you about at Cindy's. This is a fairy tale pumpkin. This is buttercup. We have a sweet dumpling squash here, which I've shown you before, and this one, I can't remember the name of it, but it's similar to this one, but a little bit different. And most of you can find butternut in your grocery stores. Now, one of the issues with cooking squash, which we've talked about before, is it's difficult to chop with a knife. And so Cindy and I were talking about this. What can we do to invent something to make it easier? And for some people, this is a good reason not to use squash, because you have to cut it. What I found out is really easy to do is take a sharp knife and puncture it in several places. Put it on a piece of foil on a baking sheet, put it in your oven, and the reason you need to puncture it is because of the moisture inside you. You don't want it to explode or just to bloat up. So be sure you puncture it, put it in, say around anywhere from around 325 to 350, and let it bake for about 45 to 60 minutes. When you can put your knife in there very easily, then you take it out and then you slice it. So that makes it a lot easier. Organic, you can actually eat the peel. If it's not organic, I probably would suggest not to eat it. But anyway, that's a very easy way for you to cook your squash. A little butter, a little stevia, a little cinnamon, and it's absolutely delicious. It's like a dessert. You can remember that this is full of vitamin A, so it's good for your skin. And you also, it's low carb. It's almost like dessert. You can use it for pumpkin pie. I showed you the Foley mill not too long ago where you can put it through there, and the Foley mills will smooth it out for you. You can make pumpkin pie with it. It's delicious. All right, back to our Brussels sprouts. So we're browning our garlic, onion, and we're going to throw in a few of these Brussels sprouts. Now, most of you may have had Brussels sprouts before, and when you have had them, most likely they're kind of soft and mushy. And I don't really like them that way. Most people don't like the mushy vegetables. These are also good for soup. I put a few in soup sometimes. That will make them a little bit more mushy, but it kind of goes with the texture of your soup versus what you have on the side of your plate. You can see how a beautiful green that they turn. They're still pretty crispy in the middle, so I'm going to let them brown a little bit. And as that happens, I'm going to just put in a few of these sun-dried tomatoes, and you can see what a nice color this is. Okay, a little sea salt, a little bit of pepper. If you like it spicy, you can also put in some red pepper flakes, which gives it some pretty color. It's a really lovely holiday dish. And again, most people aren't going to eat a whole lot of these because they're pretty hearty. But you can see they're starting to brown a little bit. It makes them crispy. And it's a really nice dish that you can serve for something different. You may not want Brussels sprouts every day, but for something different, they're kind of fun and they're unique. So while that's browning, I also want to show you, we're going to kind of jump back and forth today, but that keeps you entertained and not bored, right? I want to show you the sweet potatoes. Remember we dug these at Cindy's. I'm going to show you a really easy, quick way to fix this, which is, again, different and fun that most people don't think about. I'm going to put this, my shredding blade on my Cuisinart. Let me cut this in half. I'm going to put this in here, just like this. It's easy to do. Plug it in. Let's do that last. I'm just doing one potato for you, because I just wanted to give you the idea. Cut that up later. Okay, one potato actually does quite a bit, as you can see. And then we're going to take this, I'm just going to divide my pan and put in a little bit more oil. And in goes the sweet potato. See, this is just one potato. And if you're one person or two and you don't eat a lot, you can take the shredded sweet potato, put it in a baggie, and stick it in your refrigerator and use it up in the next day or two. But it's done. You only have to clean once. The same thing with your Brussels sprouts. If you've cut them up, you've cleaned them, you don't have to fry everything right away. You can put it in little baggies and put it in your refrigerator. You can put it in your freezer. It does take a little bit of the crunchiness and everything away. But again, you know, we want as nutritious as possible and as fast as possible. So I'm going to let this fry up, and that's really all you do. It's pretty easy, but most people don't think of frying sweet potatoes like that they do like they do baking them. And sometimes what I do is when I bake them, I might bake, you know, a lot more than what we can use, maybe 8 or 10 of them, because there's at least 4 of us, sometimes more around our table. And then what I do with the baked ones is I put them away in a couple of days after, we want to have them again. Then I will just cut them into, say, inch by inch cubes, or maybe a little smaller, ½ inch by ½ inch cubes with the peel, and I will fry them in some oil. So instead of fried potatoes, you have fried sweet potatoes. So it's a really nice, healthy alternative, and it's good for a change. And in the fall, of course, we can get some really good sweet potatoes. And you noticed I used the peel and everything, so everything went in. And of course, everything was pre-soaked in my bath of the food grade hydrogen peroxide. Now, we're going to just leave this sit. Okay, everything's looking good. I think I'm going to take those Brussels sprouts out. And again, I didn't put any in for you, but I want you to remember that you can add a little salt and pepper to your taste. A little red pepper flakes if you'd like, or if there are other seasonings that you like. It's fun to experiment. And that's the nice thing when you cook for yourself. Experiment a little bit and have fun with it. Don't make cooking a stress, because if you make it a stress, the stress is going to go in your food, you're going to get that in your body, and you might as well not eat. So we want to make cooking healthy and fun, as stress-free as possible. So I'll move this over here and let those fry up a little bit. And while that's happening, I want to take you back over here to my squash, because you might have noticed that I had also laid out some heirloom tomatoes for you. These are probably some of the last of the season, because once the frost comes on, we're not going to have them. But you can see what beautiful colors they are. And again, you can chop these up in a bowl with a little bit of olive oil in there, and I'd put some basil, some salt, and some pepper, and you have a really beautiful dish that you can put on for any side, because all the colors are so nice. So you want to think about doing that. Or you can slice them, and you can put a little bit of mozzarella in between, and then again drizzle olive oil over it, a little bit of fresh basil, and you have a nice salad. So I'm not doing that all for you, because you can use your imagination, but they're really lovely, lovely colors. And it's just fun to put things together that you might not think of in an ordinary way, because this is what's going into your mind. If you're eating different food, then you're putting different things into your mind. If you're making different combinations of food, you're combining different mind patterns in a new and different way. So you want to think about all those things when you're preparing your food, because it's very important. What's going into your mind is going into your body. What's going into your body is going into your mind. So back to Brussels sprouts. What I also wanted to tell you is, because here in the U.S., we are coming up on our holiday season, beginning with Thanksgiving. One of the things that I like to do with Brussels sprouts is I like to make a dressing or stuffing for the turkey. And we do not eat a lot of bread, and we do not eat a lot of carbs. So even if you wanted, you could add some gluten-free breadcrumbs. But what I do to make a really delicious stuffing to go with my turkey is I take the Brussels sprouts, because I can get them this time of year, and I not only cut them in half for this, but I cut them in fours and then again. So I make them in little pieces. Okay. They're going to hold the seasoning really well this way. I'm going to take a few of these and also a little bit of onion, and I slice everything for my stuffing. These are the stems, those are not going to go in. I slice everything, more dice it, I guess you might say. And I like to do this. I have a lot of patience. Some of you may not. You may find an easier way, or you might like them bigger and chunkier. Let me go back and check my sweet potatoes here. So it's like they're ready to turn. Yeah, turn the heat down. They'll brown. Let me turn that up just a hair more. Okay, back to the stuffing. This is a little red pepper. You know what a red pepper looks like. And again, I like to have the color in there. I like to have things look really nice in their presentation and appealing. So put a little bit of color in there. And again, I'm just doing a small bit because I want you to get the idea of what you can do. A piece of celery, because the celery adds crunch to me. Celery doesn't have a lot of flavor, but it has a lot of crunch. And then I'm going to dice it really fine again. Okay, and the last thing that I'm going to use for my vegetables is I'm going to put in a little bit of organic turnip. And again, turnip is a vegetable you may not be too familiar with, because most people think it's kind of a bland vegetable, which in a way it kind of is, but it holds the seasoning flavors really well. It's good to eat it raw. In salads is really nice. You can run it through your Cuisinart and shred it and then stir fry it. You can steam it, and when you steam it, you can serve it in chunks with a little butter, salt, and pepper. Or if you steam it a little bit more, you can make it really soft. And from there, you can mash it and have mashed turnips with butter and salt and pepper. It's really nice. But it is a nice vegetable to go into the stuffing because it's kind of a mild flavor. And therefore, it allows me to utilize my seasoning, which is what I really want. There's some crunch, some seasoning, a nice mix. And another thing that you can do with turnips, which is kind of a fun thing to do, is you can use them as an appetizer, like a cracker, and put things on. You can use it as a dip. There are a lot of things you can do, and put it in soup. I make it a little bigger chunks, maybe a ½ cube or an inch cube, and put it in your soups, which is a really nice thing for winter as well. So this is going to be our basis right here for our stuffing. So let's see if the sweet potatoes are ready to come off. You can see they're browning, and I'm going to go ahead and put them on a plate if it's good enough for our purposes. But again, it gives you a nice idea. You see, it's a nice presentation. It's something that you don't normally see. And anytime you have something fun on your plate, you go, oh, that's cool. You know, it gets you excited. It gets the digestive juices going. And if you're happy and excited and enjoying your food, your body's going to be able to process it. If you're tense when you eat, your digestive system is absolutely not going to process it. You might as well not eat at all. It does really, in a lot of ways, more damage than good. So try and be relaxed when you eat. Enjoy what's going on. All right, let's add a little bit more oil. Well, actually, for this, you know what? Let's put the butter in, because butter is what we like to have in dressing. You can use oil or you can use butter. This is my goat butter. And I think I'll just put in a chunk, and we'll get that melted and hot. I'm going to add a little bit of garlic too. I forgot to chop that up for you, so I'm just going to slice a little bit of garlic because I like to have that in my dressing. And we're just going to take all of this and put it right into the pan. And again, I only stir fry it enough to make it a little bit crispy, because I don't like things mushed. And you can see it's colorful and it's inviting. If you have this on your table, it invites you to eat it. You want to try it. It looks fun. It looks nice. And as it's cooking, what I like to do is add some seasonings, poultry seasonings. So I have some set out for you here. And here is some thyme, Thyme. So I'll just put a little bit of that on, and again, use whatever comes to mind. I have rosemary. Put a little bit of that in. It smells delicious. I wish you could smell what I'm smelling right now. Because once you start adding these seasonings in, it gives it such a wonderful, wonderful smell. You can put this on your turkey if you have that for Thanksgiving. A little bit of sage. This is powdered. And I have pepper, black pepper. And let me grab my sea salt. And just a tad of sea salt in there. Now, as I said, I wish you could smell this because it smells really nice right now, but you can see how beautiful that is. It's really a lovely accompaniment to your turkey. If you want, what you can do is you can put in a little bit of brown rice in there, because the brown rice is going to give it a little bit more body if you can have a few carbs. You might also try millet, cooked millet. That's also excellent in there. Wild rice is great. I mean, if you want to add a few carbs, you can. This is a good basis for it. If you want to add some gluten-free breadcrumbs, that also works for you. But as I said, it makes a really nice, easy stuffing that's relatively low carb, and you can eat all you want of it. It's delicious. So I think that's everything I have to show you today. I'm going to turn this off. Lots of ideas. Remember, when you go to your grocery store and you see something, or you're at a farm, or wherever you are, if it's new and different, go ahead and try it. Research it on the internet, or go onto our forums and ask other people what their experiences are with certain vegetables. But it's really exciting what you can do, because you can really be good to your body, you can be good to your mind, you can be good to your soul. You can enjoy and really enjoy life itself through your food. You know, if you go someplace and you're having a holiday, you're having a meal together, they say good food, good times, and that's really true, because the food is always representative of what you're putting in your mind. And you want to be able to absorb what you're putting into your mind. You want to be able to absorb what you're putting into your body. So it is really a full meal deal. Thank you again for joining me. I hope you have happy holidays. I'll continue to bring you some more ideas as we move along into November and December. Enjoy, and I look forward to hearing from you on the forums. I love it when you write in and tell me what's going on in your life, what you're doing, give me ideas, bounce ideas after each other. It's really great that we're working in this together. Take care. I'll see you next time.